have released many games onto the App Store, each as polished and good looking as the last. Terminator Salvation is their latest title, and promises a breathtaking third-person action game, with a high variety of missions and gameplay. The first thing you'll notice about the game is its stunning visual design. Its 3D graphics are definitely the best that we've seen on the platform so far. You get a good variety of battlegrounds, enemies and special effects. Terminators look deadly and menacing, and all the environments look ravaged and desolate, from scenes in the desert to abandoned cities. Each of the areas in the game have more than their fair share of scripted events, such as timed explosions, triggered cutscenes, and much more. In many cases it will be your comrades who will be on the receiving end of these explosions, but you'll also see helicopters crashing into buildings and general mayhem. This really brings Terminator Salvation to life, and does a lot more than pretty graphics would do alone. It makes the levels feel dynamic. However, the role you play is very much linear, and invisible walls are everywhere. In most cases you'll be fighting on your own, and you'll gun down many opponents. Crawling bombs, Terminators, and even harvesters make an appearance. There's also a handful of bosses, which can be taken down straightforwardly, and the main game is often divided up into different segments with their own tasks. For the most part you'll be running and gunning, but there's also weapon platforms that you can utilise, as well as driving a motorbike. These sequences make the game feel much more varied, although the accelerometer-controlled hacking minigame is tedious. Thankfully it's short-lived. Control is handled by a virtual analog stick that's used for walking, and a fire button in the lower right corner of the screen. Swiping anywhere else on the screen will let you look around the terrain, and running up to objects automatically invokes the cover system. However, this is somewhat flawed, and you may end up just standing there like a sitting duck some of the time. The driving controls take some getting used to, but the segment is over before you know it. Also, the motorbike sequence feels uneven and slow, more like a road trip than a highway chase. The presentation is solid. Not only are the graphics superb, but the music is tense and atmospheric, and it really lends itself to the genre. We like the sound effects too, everything from the gunfire to the explosions and weapon pickups. You can also leave your iPod music playing and the game won't shut it off. In our tests, we didn't experience any lag, which was quite impressive. Also, the status bar appears when you pause the game, and the entire screen can be rotated, depending on whether you have an iPhone or an iPod Touch. This is a great feature that we wish more games had. The main problem the game has is its length. We finished it in little under 90 minutes on the easy setting, but weren't troubled much when shooting the footage on hard for the review. That's thanks to the game's health system, the red border that you can see on the video. It gives a full recovery in a few seconds if you're hit by enemy bullets. Ultimately, it feels like there's no skill in playing the game, and you can just run around with your thumb glued to the fire button. After all, your main gun has limitless ammunition. We think that Terminator Salvation is a great game that needs a little more fine-tuning. Whilst the graphics and sound are superb, it's far too easy, and brief as a whole. Playing a Terminator is fun when you unlock it, but you play the same missions as the main campaign, and so the mode just feels tacked on as a result. If Gameloft tweaked the difficulty and lengthened the main campaign, we can see it being an outstanding game. For now though, there's plenty of games that will deliver a fuller and richer experience.